My beat stick's bigger than your beat stick. What's up guys, Dave Nader122. Today we're talking about beaters, and more importantly, is the idea of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Beat stick still relevant in today's meta? As always with my discussion videos, I'm going to be very short and you're going to talk about it mostly in the comments because it's a discussion video, not a listen to Dave yammer for 20 minutes video. If you want to do that, you can listen to all my lists. I go on in those. But first, I'd like to preface this video with what exactly is a beater. This is for either new players or to kind of clarify my opinion at very least. A beat stick, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Beater monster, is essentially just any monster in the game that has relatively high attack power for Marty. Ow. A beater or beat stick in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is essentially any monster with an attack power that's relatively powerful for its level or rank. Now, any monster in the game could technically be a beat stick if all you're using it for is to attack. However, in this instance, we're going to be talking about really big monsters. Since the dawn of this game, the beat stick has been important. There is a reason why, back in the day, the vanilla monster, Mechanical Chaser, with 1850 for a level 4 with no weird attack conditions, was considered a meta card. Simply because that extra 50 meant it could get over pretty much every other monster in existence that was normal summonable, other than things like Jirai Gumo or Dark Elf, which had really annoying like life point costs, or Panther Warrior, which required a tribute. These are things that required you to have something else in order to actually attack. He was just a big old vanilla beater. I remember back in the day when the first couple of sets came out, this was actually a problem with the game. You could pretty much build an entire deck of fish, or an entire deck of dinosaurs, or fiends, or spellcasters, and they'd all get their shit smacked by a deck with just literally all the level 4 monsters with 1800 or more attack. Really, the attack deck was primarily the meta of the game for a very long time, and this was primarily due to the fact that we just simply didn't have tons of card removal at that time. The question of the beater monster is something that comes up in my lists video as well as other things, because monsters with very high attack power do seem pretty favorable in a game that's based on smacking your opponent in the face and taking their life points. Presumably, if your monster has more attack power, it requires less effort in order to win the game. I had a lengthy discussion with somebody over the viability of Dragon Master Knight simply because it has 5k attack. Now that's huge. 5k is probably about as big as a monster can get without weird special effects, so just from a base power, he's pretty much the strongest monster in the game. Does that make him good though? In today's metagame, we do have tons of monster removal. You could say that at some level, beaters are completely irrelevant due to the fact that Exceed monsters have come out into this game, and they've been out for a few years now. Ever since the Exceed monster came out, tons of old decks got viable, extremely easily accessible, rank 4 options, because let's be frank here, the rank 4 option is probably the best pool, in order of getting rid of monsters that have no self-protection, i.e. giant beat sticks. Something like Dragon Master Knight, yes, is pretty impressive as far as attack is concerned, but he has virtually no self-protection, and Castel, the sky-blasting musketeer, could just whoop back to the extra deck. Monsters that have no self-protection are extremely poor turn 1 moves. Sure, you can dump all your resources into making the biggest monster ever, but if it has no way of protecting itself and you have no decent back row, it's going to be gotten rid of. However, one thing that beaters do have something that's actually still pretty viable is that when we're playing Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! With something like Skill Drain making everyone essentially into normal monsters, or when it's late game in the grind when you're out of resources. Is it easy to get rid of a 5k beater turn 1? Yes. Is it easy to get rid of a 5k beater turn 6? No. If you can outgrind your opponent for at least 5 turns, you've pretty much exhausted your initial hand, and you're now relying on your deck's ability to gain advantage in order to keep the duel going. And a lot of older decks, and even some newer decks that are designed to play fast in OTK and never go to turn 5, will start finding themselves running out of resources and you're in a top deck war. So, are beaters still viable? In a deck made of a bunch of attack monsters, no. Because archetypes have pretty much deemed that you need to have high levels of synergy in order to play the game. However, in late game in the grind, yes, they are still pretty viable. A deck that does this very well is Blue Eyes White Dragon. Sure, the deck is a rank 8 and synchro based deck, but at its core, it still plays Blue Eyes White Dragon, the biggest vanilla monster we got. And at some level, it can just summon them and smack you with it. It can just do that. In late game, sometimes that's your only option. And other decks will find it difficult to deal with Blue Eyes White Dragon when you are low on resources. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the whole beat stick thing and why I have to have the same argument with everybody in the comments on my list videos of why a giant monster isn't necessarily good. And as always, guys, remember, if you don't troll the meta, who will? I'll see you guys next time.